My definition of adventure games is wider than just traditional point-and-click titles, also including detective games, exploration, narrative RPGs, hidden object titles, and more. So here's looking at upcoming games beginning with Cabernet. You play as a newly turned vampire in a 19th century Eastern European town, telling a tale of humanity among the backdrop of class conflict, decadent corruption, and political intrigue. Our protagonist must get to know the locals, managing relationships with them while also making a note of events in your calendar, having to lure her unsuspecting victims to drain them of their blood, but also has RPG systems like leveling up your literature and writing or history and political knowledge, and you can choose to embrace the dark side or lean on what's left of your humanity, and looks like a bloody good time. Developer SFB Games did branch out last year, having made the survival horror title Crow Country, so they have shown their development chops, so I guess the focus is back on the Mermaid Mask, the follow-up to Tango Tower from 2019 that stars the same characters. This time, the captain of the world's strangest submarine, named Magnus Mortuga, has been killed, where his body was found in a locked room with an ancient stone cauldron which was opened for the first time. So it is up to our heroes to figure out what happened, with the original being a great detective game, and this looks to be as well.
Welcome to the Atropos system.
This video is brought to you by Cyber Manhunt 2 New World, the hacking simulator, the gripping sequel to the award-winning Cyber Manhunt from 2021, with this sequel releasing out of early access on the 21st of January. This game transports you into an immersive cyber puzzle adventure set within the complex landscape of today's digital world. Step into the shoes of an AI detective tasked with cracking digital mysteries and uncovering hidden truths. Utilize real-world social engineering tactics to get the information that you need in order to solve complex yet intriguing puzzles, while also uncovering layers of an intricate plot. Each piece of the story not only leads to eye-opening discoveries, but also exposes a sprawling, deeply connected conspiracy, so if interested, buy it on Steam at a 12% launch discount via the link in the description below. There are two games named Moon River on Steam, so wishlist this one via the link in the description, being a narrative adventure RPG that looks like a turn-based JRPG, but does not have combat, instead being more about exploration and focuses on puzzles, music, atmosphere, and secrets. You play as the Mariner, a sailor who has been out at sea for a long time, finding yourself on an island where it is said that the people there only exist in the moonlight, as he searches for the titular river on the island and what lies at the end of it. Having a spooky vibe, but I don't think it's a horror game and will be a free release. We only have a short teaser for Koru so far, subtitled A Botanical Adventure, in which you play as an aspiring botanist who embarks on an apprenticeship using her knowledge of plants to help, and if the trailer and screenshots are anything to go by, should be absolutely beautiful. Here's an adorable and great looking title named Pirofauna, of note since it comes to us from the developer of Perpetua, which was entirely made out of paper and then captured and translated into a digital form, and apparently they are doing the same thing in this game as well. You play as a little flame in a mystical, misty forest, capable of igniting anything within your reach, using this power to light up the darkness to help lost and frightened bugs and to dispel unfriendly creatures. Now of course, I thought that drawing bugs to a flame should more often than not kill them, and that is not even considering what happens to the forest itself. However, the in-game lore is that fire is a friendly element here, which the flora and fauna look forward to, and they treat it as some sort of deity, so I suppose it's a good thing to burn down the forest in this game. Long-time indie game fans might be familiar with this title, since Beholder Conductor is a spin-off of the Beholder series, where those games are all set in a totalitarian state, with the one that I remember the most being the original, in which you played as a state-installed landlord who had to spy on and report back to the government on the activities of your tenants. This game is similar in concept, but you play as the conductor on the train who has to monitor passengers and carry out important ministry assignments, having similar character designs and a sick pixel art style.
2 detectives protecting that pale-furred, sharp-toothed bastard. And I was just wondering, where are my detectives?
Moses and Plato Last Train to Clawville is a captivating story-rich detective investigation adventure game that combines point-and-click and visual novel elements. You play as Moses and Plato, 2 clueless detectives who find themselves entangled in a complex case while travelling on the luxurious Clawville Express. When the ambassador that you are supposed to protect is murdered, you become the prime suspect, and it is up to you to unravel the mystery before the train reaches its final destination. Time advances while you gather clues, eavesdrop on conversations, and interrogate passengers, so it's a race against the clock as you use your cunning and detective skills to uncover the truth. This is a detective game through and through, having a conspiracy board to analyze the clues collected, with plenty of hidden secrets and mysteries as well. It comes to us from developer The Wild Gentleman, known for the Chicken Police series, so they do have their experience with the zoological detective game, with this having a different art style and looks cool, with there being a free demo on Steam so you can check it out.
Oh, but it's part of the job.
Here we go. We might just be in for the adventure of a lifetime, huh?
Oh, but every day is an adventure with you, Plato.
I came across this title on Twitter where Goodlands caught my eye due to the art style, being a low-fidelity 3D title about dinos digging up dinos. You play as a paleontologist tasked with revitalizing a derelict museum by collecting and preserving breathtaking fossils from the Cretaceous period. It's a charming title with a cast of dinosaurs and other paleo townfolk, where you can get to know them, each with their own unique personalities, and you can also customize your own character to your liking as well. There is a fossil cleaning minigame with 14 fully realized vertebrate fossils to uncover, also having a curated open world structure, and dig sites inspired by real life ones, also having hidden content and Easter eggs, and simply looks great. From the developer of the underrated Gibbous A Cthulhu adventure comes Near-Mage, another hand-drawn point-and-click adventure game that harkens back to the adventure games of the 90s. You play as a teenager who is invited to Transylvania for the summer, but then finds out that she is from a long line of witches, enrolling in the Transylvanian Institute for Magic to uncover her family's secrets and to master the art of magic. This is a narrative-heavy adventure game that mixes in role-playing elements and spell-crafting mechanics, where you will be able to experiment with spells to help your classmates, which consist of Moroi, Strigoi, ghouls, and more. The traditionally animated frame-by-frame art of this game looks awesome, and it will be in 4K, so it should be a treat for the eyes, with the choices you'll be making resulting in replayability, since you could have erased an NPC's memory in one playthrough as compared to the next. It is also being made by a Transylvanian developer located in Transylvania, sharing their culture and heritage as well.
Well, if it isn't the rabbit, come to see his old pal the Hatter.
Just a quick trailer here for Alice is Dead, Hearts and Diamonds as well, a point-and-click noir mystery title, being a darker take on Alice in Wonderland, with the UI and interface looking like a classic adventure game with an inventory system as well.
Welcome to the Ministry of Development, a cornerstone of our nation's progress and a hub of opportunity.
I'm partial to this next title since it is from a developer out of my home country of Singapore, in which Compensation Not Guaranteed, formerly known as Commonwealth, is a strategy adventure game whose most direct comparison would be Papers, Please. You play as a civil servant in the Ministry of Urban Development, having to acquire private land from citizens so that it can be put to better use to serve the nation. To do so, you have to check ownership documentation while learning about their backstories and circumstances, determining if they should and how much money they would get if the government takes back the land, with perhaps less civic-minded individuals getting that land taken away from them since compensation is not guaranteed after all. It might seem far-fetched as an idea, but this very thing did happen in land-scarce Singapore in the 1960s, so here's a bit of a history lesson for you. So to explore this idea is a bit cheeky, but hopefully wouldn't put this developer or me on any government watch list.
Still with me, Mr. Harrow?
Can I help you?
Still with me, Mr. Harrow?
Can I help you?
This next title looks like Disco Elysium, but has a cool, intentionally limited frame rate to the animation similar to Into the Spider-Verse, where in Rue Valley, you play as a man trapped in a time loop in a small, godforsaken town, having to uncover the secrets of it in order to break the loop. There will, of course, be a cast of interesting characters, each grappling with their own emotional complexities, where the main character himself also has mental hurdles to overcome. Interestingly, you will be able to craft his personality, whether the character will be a cold-hearted loner or a melodramatic loudmouth, which will of course affect your interactions with the other characters. There is carryover from loop to loop, with memories being stored in a graph, and you can unlock intentions and mindsets as you play through the game, so while not exactly the thought cabinet system of Disco Elysium, they are definitely doing their own thing. I have been interested in this game ever since I came to know of it, since pixel artist and YouTuber Brendan James Greer is involved in Petal Runner, visually resembling a Pokemon game or something, but is an adventure game without combat. You play as an aspiring Petal Runner, a specialized job that delivers leap cells while driving a motorcycle, which are used to power artificial pets, undergoing training and taking on various tasks in order to do so. You do have a first-generation Hana pet by your side as a companion while you explore, with there being mention of an unexpected mystery in the world as well. It has an open-world structure, so you are free to roam the city, having a variety of mini-games along with a Tamagotchi-like element to the pets, but to be honest, this qualifies for the list based on the visuals alone. Since we last took a look at this game, stories from Soul the Gun Dog might have given into some sort of pressure, since they have added a full colour mode to this sci-fi visual novel, where it was previously only in the Game Boy style shades of green, so if the visuals were bothering you, that should not be the case any longer. This has an almost Gundam-like setting, mixing giant spaceships and mecha in space, where our protagonist has been reassigned to the Gun Dog patrol ship after being traumatized from the loss of his crewmates on a previous assignment. The ship is sent to investigate mysterious signals at the edge of space, and unfortunately, there appears to be an unknown assailant in the mix, spreading paranoia and conspiracy among the crew, so you need to figure out what is going on. The retro 80s sci-fi inspired world looks neat, especially the giant mechs, and looks absolutely gorgeous. This next title has an emotional real-life story to it, since its creator, Fahmi, passed away at the age of 32 back in 2022, and while I don't know the guy personally, he seems to have been a beloved figure in the Indonesian game development community, with the rest of the team pushing through the tragedy and bringing Afterlove EP to life. This is a slice-of-life visual novel adventure game with a rhythm element set in Jakarta, Indonesia, telling the tale of a 28-year-old musician named Rama who is dealing with the death of his girlfriend. Yes, not the most pleasant of situations, but grief is a part of the human condition, so experiences like this can help you learn more about the world or yourself. The other characters in this game might help or hinder you, so it is up to you to decide which relationships to nurture and which to let fade away. There are deep and meaningful conversations between characters to help Rama process his grief, where outside of the narrative elements, you can explore the city and jam with your band, promising to use the power of music and human connection to be a balm for the soul. This next title comes to us from the developer of Paradise Killer, an intriguing detective narrative adventure game in itself, with Promise Mascot Agency continuing the trend of making very weird and interesting games. This is set in a cursed Japanese town in which you play as an exiled Yakuza sent to manage this agency of Japanese mascots, and they do love their mascots over there. But in this world, they are not humans in costumes, but are fully formed characters in themselves, having their own personalities and problems, like the tofu block, which cannot stop crying, or the cat who is a little bit too obsessed with adult videos. You are harnessing these mascots to send them on missions, being able to explore the open world in your upgradable K-Truck, and thus have a severed Pinky as the main companion character in the game, also having an all-star voice cast, so it is certainly of interest. This next title has some great pixel art and a dose of the supernatural, where in Urban Myth Dissolution Center, you are working with the director of said institution to solve cases involving cursed relics and dimensional anomalies. This is an episodic title, so you are solving one case and then moving on to the next, where if you've ever been enraptured by creepypasta on the internet, I'm sure this will be your jam. I believe there is a larger narrative as well, since the dissolution of each urban myth leads to unexpected consequences and the uncovering of hidden truths, but come on, how great does this look?
I'm not meant to be here.
There are some crossovers between farming and life sim titles with adventure games as well, with one of note being Wonder Stop, in which you are running a tea shop in the middle of nowhere, having to grow the plants and gather them when ready, using these to brew tea to sell to your customers. There's a complex contraption that is used to make the tea, so you need to figure it out, with the whole process reminding me of why people do the whole tea ceremony thing in real life, since that is actually a mindfulness practice. And that appears to be the intent here as well. You have to get to know the customers in order to make the perfect brew for them, coffee talk style, and in between the tea making, you can tidy the farm, decorate the shop, or just sit down on a bench with a cup of tea and your thoughts. However, our heroine is a fallen warrior, so this is a very unusual setting for her, where she has to learn to let go and to deal with her own inner state, where the shop demands patience and will reject those who seek to speedrun the experience, so this looks very intriguing. It also comes to us from David Reardon, known for the Stanley Parable and The Beginner's Guide, along with the co-creator of Gone Home, who I believe stepped away from Fulbright and Steve Gaynor after the issues at that studio, so it has a substantial pedigree as well. This next title comes to us from the developer of Moncage, a very cool perspective-based puzzle game about exploring unique dioramas, in which while waiting looks more straightforward, but is exploring the art of waiting. Yes, you can clear the game by doing nothing and waiting, whether it be in line, for an update on a computer to complete, for your boss to finish a presentation and more, throwing you into these scenarios which occur from birth to death, and seeing how you deal with it. Like the previous title, this might be a meditative process of sorts as you sit or stand around and wait, and we all have had that experience, whether it be in line at the grocery store, waiting at the doctor's office, being stuck in a jam and more, so embrace patience in this comedic title that does look pretty sweet, with Easter eggs and surprises as well, and looks like a hit. This next title has gone viral a couple of times, which seems to be largely due to the red-haired lady, which I think is the antagonist in the game, where Sushi Ben is a slice-of-life adventure game where you attempt to save a local sushi bar from a bunch of dastardly land sharks. This will have both VR and non-VR versions, which I think is a smart move on their part, with it playing out largely in first person as you take part in activities like fishing, archery, and even ghost hunting, while you explore the cozy Japanese town. The creator of Hatofu Boyfriend is involved in this project, so again, an A-team if I ever saw one, with the art and animation in this looking so good and is certainly of interest. I just realized that these top few picks of mine have come from established teams who have made excellent titles in the past, since Summer Hill is from the developers of the Alto's adventure games, this time being a beautiful, story-driven puzzle game about a young shepherd and a dog, going on a quest to reunite your scattered flock of sheep, while also uncovering ancient mysteries. This game just looks so fantastic, as is expected from the Alto people, where it's largely about herding and moving sheep, which could lead to interesting puzzles, even if we only have a very limited glimpse at gameplay so far. We only have a teaser for this next title, so before I review it, can you guess what game this is? If you love adventure games, you might have come across Toem from 2021, a photography title with that signature monochrome color scheme, and indeed, Toem 2 is in development, although curiously, all the screenshots are in first person, which is a departure from the original. I met some of the team and got hands-on with a demo of Lost and Found Co. at Gamescom Asia last year, so to Ika and the team, thanks for the warm reception, with this being a wonderful, colourful and very pretty hidden object game coming to us from a studio out of Thailand. This follows in the footsteps of games like Hidden Through Time, but cranks up the adorable meter to 11, in which you are searching for animals and objects in very detailed environments, resembling Where's Waldo but in video game form, with optional objectives as well, and should be huge. Taiwanese developer Sigono Inc. is the master of the adventure game, having made games under the Opus banner, but they are not really related. From The Day We Found Earth in 2016, Rocket of Whispers in 2018, Echoes of Star Song in 2021, and now Opus Prism Peak sometime in 2025. They just released a gameplay trailer for this narrative-driven adventure game about a photographer who finds himself caught outside of reality, with your camera allowing you to peek into the ethereal realm, and looks excellent.
Wake up, sleeper.
Of course, the narrative RPG of note is Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector, the follow-up to a game from 2022 that wowed with its writing, as well as the tough choices you had to make with rolling and slotting dice into activities on the space station, where in the sequel, you play as an escaped android with a malfunctioning body and a price on your head, with early reviews being very impressed, so certainly check it out. Watch this video for the best games of 2024.